So Jocelyn, what was the tipping point? What made you decide to join Everyman Legal?
I think I'd reached a stage with the company that I was with at the time that I was feeling, for various reasons, quite unloved, and decided that either I did leave law totally at that point, or looked forward as to something that would be different and be structured in a different way that I would then find more rewarding on a personal level. I think I had read about virtual law firms about 2 or 3 months prior to making the decision that I needed to move on. I didn't want to work for another large law firm. I'd been previously head of construction for Eversheds, and so I was used to the constraints of large firms and the frustrations that can bring, and decided that working from home and doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it for whom I wanted to do it would be attractive. And I can't now recollect, but I think an article I read mentioned Everyman, and then I did my researches on the internet and spoke to a couple of virtual law firms, including Everyman.
What would you say is the best thing about working for Everyman Legal?
Freedom and flexibility, and not having to go through awful partner politics and edicts from on high that are time consuming and in my experience have never benefited the ultimate end user, which is the client.
What would you say is the worst thing about working for Everyman Legal?
This is very boring because I can't think of anything, and maybe I ought to caveat that and say I have only been doing it for 4 months. I don't find it isolating. I'm not a great one necessarily to be surrounded by lots of people, and working in construction, often you do spend many hours on your own going through huge amounts of documents, and there's only you that can do that. And in a sense, you're not isolated because you have the clients. I mean, they phone you or they email you or you see them and all that sort of thing. And one of the things that I thought we needed to do at Everyman that wasn't really happening before I joined is that we needed to be in touch with each other. So we now meet every other month, physically in real life, and then every other month we do it on the phone, and you get to know people that way. And I think one of the lovely things is that people seem to be very relaxed with each other. And I think, bearing in mind it is a network, we need to know each other, we need to trust each other, and then we can refer the work to each other, which does happen.
What's your ambition for your practice, and how can Everyman Legal help you realise that?
The ambition is to retain and obtain the clients for whom I've always acted, which is incredibly rewarding for me, but also to ensure that we're alive to other possibilities of obtaining new construction clients in particular. And Everyman Legal has been incredibly helpful in terms of consolidating my practice with clients for whom I've already acted, especially so on the back office support. And then moving on from there, we're exploring ways of doing some areas of joint marketing for different practice areas. And the one where I would have the most synergy is in energy with Rory Tate. And the clients for whom we have both acted already in the last few months, and we want to grow that further if we can.
How do you manage your workload?
I think the same way as I always have done. It's always got to be client-led, and there may be, especially at the moment, there are times when there isn't actually anything for me to do, which I think is great, actually, because there are other things that I want to do. And it's the same disciplines that you would have in as it were, a more traditional practice, and you just have to make sure that you're delivering to the deadlines that you've agreed with the client, or that sometimes in my case set by the court.